is a renowned keynote speaker at conferences and workshops around the world. He is often invited to talk about future trends, technological disruption, strategic management, smart cities and smart tourism, tourism, hospitality, technology, e-tourism, marketing, as well as strategy for tourism, travel, and hospitality organizations. He normally delivers more than 30 keynotes per year. In fact, I know that earlier today he had another keynote speech in Hong Kong Polytechnic University. Around the world, often in the United Nations, World Tourism Organization, the European Commission, the European Travel Commission, and many governments, associations, and hotel chains. As a speaker, Dimitrios Buhalis engages dynamically with the audience, motivates and inspires towards strategic change and development. Providing a long-term vision, he challenges global audiences to engage in debate and embrace positive changes. His approach is centered around introducing perspectives aimed at encouraging the adoption of new global development strategies. As a facilitator, Dimitrios brings a specialist knowledge and stimulates discussion and debate between stakeholders, thus setting innovative and strategic objectives towards new frontiers. He brings cutting-edge research and innovation into global best practice. He focuses on technology-driven market disruptions and explaining smartness, agility, and how the Internet of Things transforms societies, economies, and business competitiveness and prosperity. On a personal note, Dimitrios is a long-term good friend whom I first met him when I was starting my career 26, 27 years ago. I'm greatly indebted to him for many reasons, and especially today, as he has been a precious force behind making TOURMAN2021 a global success. Professor Buhalis, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Vangelis. I really appreciate this introduction. I wish my mother was still around to hear all these great things and see what we do in the world. Fantastic to be with you. Great to see TOURMAN doing very well internationally. Fantastic also to see very good friends, Kathy, Marina, Sarah early on to contribute to this event and share our knowledge. I think it's really important at this stage to make sure that academia and the top research is coming to industry, because industry around the world is absolutely suffering. And this is an opportunity to actually bring content and knowledge and expertise to everybody. And especially, I'd like to congratulate the International Hellenic University, of which I'm a visiting professor, and I've been teaching in the master's course for a long time, for making this conference available freely to everybody around the world, because this is really, really important at this stage where most of the tourism industry is struggling globally. So I've got about 2,000 slides to go through with you and to show you two or three things. One is how COVID has changed the world, and also how smartness is changing the way that we're doing things, and how smartness is going to get us out of this terrible, terrible mess that we've come into. Before I start, a little bit of advertising. Tourism Review is the journal I'm editing, and I'm about to finish the encyclopedia of tourism management and marketing with more than 1,200 entries. That was my lockdown project, and I've spent all of this time actually doing some very, very productive, bringing 1,500 academics from 80 worlds together to produce the Encyclopedia of Tourism Management and Marketing. And it's already online, the first entry, so you can come along and watch it. Now, I'd like to play this video for a minute, because this is probably the best thing I've seen, how we are going to come out of COVID. And this is the best thing I've seen so far. It's coming from British Airways. Let me stop doing that. It's a little bit fiddly because I've got to go from one screen to another. Give me 1 second, but it really brings out my feeling of what we are doing to get out of the COVID mess situation we've got. I'm not sure if you can see it. You should be able to see a screen with nice houses in England, and you should be able to hear it as well. Oops. So, let me start again. Here you go.
Good morning. This is your captain speaking.
Here we go.
Something that makes us fly. For us, it's you.
So we all have something that makes us fly. For us, it's you. I think it's a great analogy to what we do in terms of operating on this global tourism industry and supporting the tourism industry develop and expand. And remember this advertisement, because you'll see something that that did in a minute. So coming out of the encyclopedia, I had to manage all the knowledge together in the editor statement, and I kind of looked around, how can we manage tourism in a way that we understand everything that is happening in a very comprehensive framework. And of course, we know the tourism system from Neil Lippier, the tourism generating region and the tourism destination region and the transit region and everything that's happening in there. That's the system that we operate. And this is the resources that they're coming into. And this is the value that we're co-creating out of the system. So we've been talking about these things for the last 30 years, but now they are kind of very, very systematized. And when we're talking about sustainability, we're talking about looking after the resources in a sustainable way. So when the co-creation of value is happening here, those are sustained for future generations and we operate together. Also, the tourism system is on the top of the tourism pyramid, where you've got a range of planning and management and strategy issues that they're addressing all kind of infrastructure, all kind of licenses, all kind of controls, all kind of planning. Then you've got the market forces, things like Airbnb that Sarah was talking about earlier, and sustainability, globalization, legal issues and regulation, border controls, fair trading, all of those things. Then you've got the exogenous variables that they're determining what we do and how we engage. And then you've got the technology, and the technology provides the platforms where everything plugs and plays. So the technology is where things are communicated, and the tourism system up here is managed to operate. And I think this is really, really important to understand, to go back to basics in a way and say, why do we do tourism? Because a lot of people forget why we do tourism. As far as destinations concerned, we do tourism in order to benefit residents, and to benefit residents, we need competitive advantage, we need the destination differentiation, we need destination brand image development, and we need models that they bring all the system operate together through research optimization. This is nothing new. I've published this in 2000, bring all of those things together. And I'm surprised that quite a lot of people actually do not necessarily understand what tourism is about. Now, COVID, of course, it kind of got us in a crisis that we've never seen before. And I can only say that COVID is like a war. We are still in there. There are 3.4 million people who have died, and every day more people are dying around the world. So it's really a warning that this is still going on. A lot of people, 500,000 people have died in the US, 500,000 almost people have died in Brazil. God knows what's going to happen in India, and we're still going. And in Europe, you see the situation. I used to be much more proud of Greece probably 4 or 5 months ago, when the people who have died, the number of people who have died was much more. Now it's increasing more than other countries. But and you can see how many people have lost their life, but also how many other lives have been affected by these things in all kind of issues. And you can see that the situation is not going away yet. We had probably February, we had the biggest number of people who are dying, but that's now increasing with a lot of issues and a lot of victims in India and Brazil. And you can see how those things are happening. I'm saying these things because it's really, really important to understand that this is a war. And in a war situation, we need to use all the tools that we have got to actually get out of this war situation. We are lucky because COVID, in a way, does not destroy infrastructures. It doesn't destroy all the things that we are there to do and produce these things. And we've been very, very lucky with all the heroes that we've got around the world. We've look after to as humanly possible the people who have been ill, and they've been looking after all those people that they needed help. But of course, there was a lot of victims in this war, and there are still a lot of victims. And the reports that we get from India right now are really, really bad. And you can see that tourism, of course, has been affected from where we were growing nicely for the last 30 years, where, in fact, tourism was never affected up to a point of 2020, where international tourism was reduced by 74%. And you can see the various scenarios on how we are going to be able to recover. We've never seen anything like that. The tourism industry being grounded. This Bournemouth airport, where a lot of British Airways flights, aircraft is parked right now. And we've seen a lot of colleagues around the world, tourism industry colleagues, who are the next level of heroes. After the medical people, these are the next level of people who are really taking care of all these people that they need to move, and they engaging in the industry in a way to support their communities and to support our customers and support our industry to develop. I came early with the COVID thing because I was in hospital in Greece with my mother at the time, and I started realizing quite early what's going to happen and how things are going to emerge. And I start shouting brace, brace, brace all the way back from March 2020. At the time, a lot of people didn't like what they were hearing, and they were telling me I was very pessimistic and things were not going to go that way. But in fact, things have gone much worse than anybody had actually imagined. But those 4 words, humanity, solidarity, leadership, and resilience, they're still as important as they were in March 2020, or even more important. What we really need to do is we really need to develop our humanity and solidarity to make sure that we are out of this war alive. And we need to develop our leadership, and we need to develop our resilience. And there are a lot of tools that are coming. They're helping us to do that. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and we know what we need to do to keep safe. We know the protocols, and we know what needs to happen. And then we've got the vaccine as being one of the most important factors that help us get out of this difficult situation. And there's some statistics here on how the vaccination programs have developed. And you can see that Malta and Israel are actually flying as far as vaccination is concerned. You can see on this side, you can see how many people have actually received vaccination. So if it's more than 100% of the population, it means that more people have received their vaccines and they've completed their doses of vaccine. You can see here that the UK is quite high up, United Arab Emirates quite high up, Bahrain and things like that. And then you see Europe being around the middle. You can see Greece being about 44%. And you can see Brazil and India being very low on vaccinations. And you can see where COVID is happening right now, and you can see how many people are dying in these areas. These are important things because I know that there is an issue about vaccinations, and a lot of people are actually reluctant to go and get vaccinated. The second thing is where we are on the map, and you can see the countries that they are more vaccinated than others. And until everybody is vaccinated, until everybody is safe, we are not going to get out of this situation. And you can see here the percentages of the vaccination progress. I got mine and I was very grateful. And this is my second one. Hey. And the next one, the next thing I did is I booked a flight. You remember the British Airways advertisement a minute ago? That's the result. A day after I got my second vaccine, I got a flight. Now, Marina talked about proximity travel. Kathy talked about the domestic travel. And a lot of people are exploring their backyard, and a lot of people are looking to great things. It's fantastic when you're a big country like China, the United States, the UK. It's really difficult if you're a country that is small and it relies on international tourism like Greece. So domestic tourism has been much more complicated in Greece. The other thing that we see is that land transportation becomes much more approachable and becomes, people trust it more. And what we see is domestic tourism is booming. This is Bournemouth, and this is what happened last April. And it's really important to see how to manage this domestic tourism, because again, the domestic tourism is not used to have this kind of volume of travel. And this on the new Foerste, and this is Greece is getting ready. And we know that all you want is Greece. So please go domestic. And I see some fantastic things. This is another Vangelis Kyriakou who is doing some fantastic work in Edessa. And it's about the cherry blossom in 2021. And they are creating new kind of routes on cherry blossom routes to encourage people to go around and enjoy their backyard. Now, globally, as I said, the way to get out of this horrible disease is the vaccines and the different kind of measures that we've got. And some of the countries like Singapore has given prioritization to all their tourism and transport people to get vaccinated so they can move things forward. And the certification of vaccination is something that we are going to use a lot. This is we used to call them passports, but anyway, this is the yellow book from the World Health Organization that we carry when we go to places like Africa. Now it has got all my vaccination details, so that will facilitate travel in the future. Now, after any storm, there is a rainbow, and we expect that a lot of things are going to happen when we are able to reignite tourism at the scale that we like. All the assets, the products, the branding, the co-creation of the experience, everything is there. And we need to actually look forward on where we would like to go. We're not going to go back to 2019. A lot of people are asking, can we go back to 2019? And I always say it's like a 40-year-old man dreaming to be a 19-year-old man, or a 40-year-old woman dreaming to be a 19-year-old woman. We're not going to go back. We're going to go forward to the new reality. So looking forward is really critical rather than looking in the past. Like in the same way that you don't drive by looking at your mirror, you need to look forward. And I think one of the main things is that we are looking at the end of the planning, but we're looking at the beginning of agility. We used to be able to plan for a long time, 2 to 3 years. Now, because of COVID, the long-term planning has become 2 weeks. So what we need to do is we need to have all the systems and all the technology to understand how to engage with our environment contextually in order to take advantage of these things. And in order to do that and develop resilience, we need smart solutions that will support us through COVID. Smartness is about bringing all of those things together, and there's a lot of applications that they came out during COVID to track and trace and understand where people have been and how exposed they were in danger, and then given certificates, the green certificates, so they're being able to travel. Obviously, China has been much more advanced on that, partly because they are using technology in much more advanced way, and you've seen from Kathy what is the impact that had. A lot of people have been traveling during the festival periods. A lot of people have enjoyed their location and they've used their technology to actually open up their tourism. As far as the European Commission is concerned, yesterday they announced how they're going to do the digital certificate, which will allow people to travel if they are vaccinated, if they have received a negative test, or if they have recovered from COVID, meaning that they've got ammunition and they'll be able to travel again. A lot of technologies will come forward to actually help us understand what is happening. So if there are a lot of people together who will be able to know using artificial intelligence and understand the proximity of people and understand the concentration of people in small areas. So if you've got a lot of people in a particular location, like I don't know, a big square or a big festival or places like that, you'll kind of understand what's happening and you'll be able to manage the situation by asking people to disperse, and you'll bring security measures forward. Of course, there's a political will here, because the measures are there, but whether people are actually following them or not. And we've seen what happened in India, we've seen what happened in Greece over Easter, we've seen in different kind of places, how when people are concentrated in a small space, then what happens is that is COVID is getting out of control, and a lot of people dying in about 3 to 4 weeks later. A lot of the technologies that are coming in, they're coming on applications, and this is the IATA travel pass that is going to be used for air transportation. So what you've got is you've got the transportation information, then you've got the health information, then you've got the security information, all that on a digital envelope that contains all the status of a passenger, that identifies, authenticates, and make sure that the passenger is ready to travel. So a lot of airlines around the world, they are trialing that. And we had the first traveler coming to London from Singapore on SQ308 on the 17th of March, who used that pass to come forward to London. I think using the apps will enable us to create secure versions of their passports and their health information on their mobile devices that will allow us to move forward. Now, as far as protocol and service protocol is concerned in hotels, there are a lot of applications that enable people to do touchless interaction with different things so they can protect themselves and understand how to operate. Now, when we are looking to smartness is really about interoperability and interconnectivity of integrated technologies that re-engineers all process and data in order to create innovative services. This is generic kind of smartness thing, and you can see on this publication how we are bringing together ambient intelligence to support smartness. Smartness is really about engaging the network and maximizing the efficiency of the network rather than individual elements of the network. And this is really interesting because up to now, most of the technology and most of the efficiency and all the things that we've been saying on strategic management and marketing address the needs of particular innovations and particular organizations. Now, with smartness, we're bringing all of these things together we enable them with technology, and we support the development of very comprehensive tools that are co-creating value for everybody who is involved. And that is the innovation that smartness is bringing forward. So smartness is taking advantage of networks, the Internet of Things and the Internet of Everything, sensors and beacons, and big data analysis to actually maximize the co-creation of value that is being generated. We come to the marketplace on the one side from the supply side, the other side from the customer side, and you've got a range of technology, including virtual reality, augmented reality, location-based services. And technologies are bringing innovations, and those innovations are coming in the marketplace to take advantage of the conditions in the real time. You'll see that in a minute, and co-create that value in real time. We are collecting information, we take them up to the cloud, we have got data storage, then we are treating this information with artificial intelligence and machine learning, and then we are creating a whole range of analytics that they are addressing things like what is happening, why is it happening, what is likely to happen, and what can be done about it. And all of these things is very dynamic and engaging with all the players out there. This is from Korea. It's the TAPI's control center in Seoul in Korea, and they've got all kind of cameras that they are bringing all kind of indicators in there, and you can see all kind of warnings that are happening when things are going wrong, and they are managing all kind of capacities and service providers to maximize value. Now, one of the latest things that we are developing is nowness and real time. And this is how we are getting information about the particular context in real time and engaging with everybody who is in this real time to understand what they want and what their expectations and the digital touch points, and then create solutions for that. And this is what Marriott is doing on the M Live. They've got 5 studios around the world. And they are following all the Marriott hotels on a 24/7. They have geofenced the hotels, and they understand what's happening there in their proximity. What we are arguing is that nowness becomes the third most important source of competitive advantage. We've got from Porter, we've got price, we've got differentiation, and now nowness that is driving instant gratification becomes the most important competitive advantage, because it actually drives consumers and industry to operate in the current contextual information. This is enabled by ambient intelligence, where ambient intelligence is bringing all the technologies together to take advantage of artificial intelligence and machine learning, using all kinds of ambient connectivity from wherever it's coming. And that drives innovations like autonomous vehicles, robotics, and those things. Ambient intelligence is mobile, it's pervasive and ambient, meaning that it's everywhere, and it's supporting every opportunity to actually co-create value with all the stakeholders. Because if we know all the different elements and the different players, we can manage the network together. And that facilitates human-to-human interaction, and actually increasingly robot-to-robot interaction across all kinds of boards. I don't have a lot of time to explain to you in more detail, but I've given you the reference so you can see what's happening. So what you've got is consumer centricity, you've got the customer in the middle, you've got all these facilitators around the service providers, and then you've got a range of different technologies from the Internet of Things, the Internet of Everything, mobile devices, apps, cryptocurrency, sensors, beacons, gamification, all of those things coming together to serve the customer when they're traveling. Eventually, we'll see societies like that, where you'll have a range of autonomous machines delivering things, making decisions, and taking things forward. And they'll facilitate the tourism industry in a lot of different ways, which we are currently researching on. And when I normally say these things, people kind of get excited and they say, oh, this is something that's going to happen in the future. In fact, it's happening now. This is the new Century Grand Hotel in Hangzhou. I was there in just before the pandemic, and this little fellow who was about to go on came on the elevator with me, and then we became friends. and he was working extra hard delivering all kind of things. It is a he. There was a female version of it as well in the other hotel that they're operating. And gradually we'll see autonomous driving and self-driving, which will change totally the way we're doing things. So one of the things, a lot of the things out of that is coming out on my book that came out yesterday to my hands, the Gamification for Tourism, where we're exploring a lot of those things happening together. I don't have the time to play this video for you unless you guys would like to give me the time. It's coming from Relaine Chateau, and it's talking about the magic of the new journey that we're emerging. Because when we're talking about technology and tourism, a lot of people are thinking that we are going to dehumanize the tourism experience. It's not that at all, but we will enhance the human experience with a whole range of things. So please play this YouTube video at home later on. The message is plan for the worst, hope for the best. We are going to be developing a whole range of new applications to take advantage of those things. But first, we need to deal with the war that we've got in front of us. We need to vaccinate people, and we need to make sure that everybody is safe to be on the next stage where we're going to enjoy the benefits. I know that I've gone through very quickly through that. Here is a range of different publications, so you can see a lot of the things that this is based on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dimitrios. That was really exciting. Very exciting. We've got lots of questions, but I've chosen just a few very interesting. There is a question, and there is a very long discussion going on lately about the digital vaccination certificate. And many people are asking, and many delegates as well are asking and saying that, okay, the digital vaccination certificate appears to be very important for restarting tourism. But do you see a threat? Do you see a future trend, perhaps, of very similar certificates, in brackets, being established for various reasons? Would this perhaps result to new types of visas, restrictions that have been abolished during the last 10, 20 years, and how this might impact on tourism or future tourism?
This is a very interesting question, because actually it's based on false assumptions. Security after September 11 has become a major factor in traveling. What is actually happening is that the consumers do not see the level of security that exists on the background. So every time you are going to do an online check-in, there is about 4 to 5 seconds which you do not realize that the person who is trying to do online check-in is being authenticated against different databases that security services are using. And then if you appear in any of those security databases, or if for some reason you cannot be authenticated, the message that you get back is, sorry, you cannot check in online right now. Go to the airport. Where, depending on how much threat you have been assessed, different people wait to welcome you, if you know what I mean. Now, this is something that a lot of people do not know that is happening, but it's happening as a result of the previous crisis in September 11. Because if you remember, after September 11, it took a few months for tourism to go back and kind of start developing. And during those months, there's a range of different procedures that were being installed. Some of them are invisible, you cannot see them. Now, what's going to happen with the vaccine certificates? First of all, as a customer, I wouldn't like to go to on a plane where, let me rephrase it, I would like to minimize my risk when I get on a plane. And I don't know of anybody anywhere that they would not consider this when they are traveling. So we know that there are different ways of reducing risk. And there's something that the BBC was saying the other day, which is the Swiss cheese approach. Like the Swiss cheese has got a lot of holes, right? And the analogy is that the virus is going through the holes. So if we've got different layers of Swiss cheese and we stop the virus in different kind of layers, we're trying to minimize the impact at the end. So the knowing that people have been vaccinated is one of these ways of actually blocking that. Knowing that people cannot transmit, or the people have got low epidemiological loads is another one. Knowing that people are sanitizing their hands and they're wearing masks is another one. It's not one or the other. It's a combination of all those things that collectively reducing the impact. And let me say that because I really like, during pandemic, it's really important to actually identify what we need to say as an advice and give it a name, a time tag. On the 21st of May today, I'm advising all the governments around the world to close down discos, bars where people are standing up, and anything where service is not provided at your table. I'm sorry, but for this time, this is not appropriate. So we need to take all the measures to reduce the impact of this war and to stop the war as soon as possible. The longer we are not taking the measures, the longer the war is going to take. So we cannot afford that globally. We also need to make sure that we vaccinate the developed world, the developing world, because it's great for Europe and the US and United Arab Emirates and Israel and all the rich countries to be vaccinated. But until we vaccinate all the poor countries around the world, the virus will be with us and they'll be coming back. So those things are very, very important. And I urge everybody to get vaccinated and to support the governments around the world get us out of this war.
Yes, well, I think what you said, we're in a war, it says it all. I mean, this is the most important thing. Thank you very much, Dimitrios. That was really, really exciting. Thank you very much. But stay aboard because we've got a very, very interesting executive panel discussion coming up in a few minutes. But now I would, after congratulations,